Friends, just now, as Aparesh had gone for some work, I imagine and visualize my entire journey with Milt. 26 years of journey with Milt. And I had only 2 words on my lips. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you for this wonderful journey, which I am about to share with you. The title of the paper is Being a Good Human, Being a Miltonian. And the topic I had selected was Being a Miltonian lies far beyond the Milt course. Statutory warning. This being an experiential journey of over a quarter century, often one has used subjective pronoun I, much against one's wishes. The purpose of this journey is being a good human, being a Miltonian. Meaning, a Miltonian who is pursuing, consolidating, and ensuring continuous comprehensive growth even after the Milt course. Committed to playing a proactive role selflessly in unconditional service activities to the best of his ability while emulating the Milt pledge in letter and spirit. Last evening, you were very quiet at the graduation, inquired Aparesh during break in 1992 Milt Management Course, Bangalore. I was upset at not being made the chief guest of MLC graduation, I replied. That is your ego, thundered Aparesh. And I must add, this happened in a toilet in Bangalore. I know that. I need your help to prune out my negative qualities, I replied. Graduation lesson was one of the many lessons Aparesh has taught me over the years. Its purpose was my evolution and empowerment by making me scale the mountain range of man-making. Thus, way back in 1992, one realized that being a Miltonian lies far beyond the Milt course. In 1991, I joined the Milt Leadership Course Mumbai when an ad caught my attention. It mentioned about helping one develop clear and effective communication capability and making sound decisions even under pressure, power to influence minds and events around one, public speaking capability, better memory, commanding personality, ability to handle tension, harmonious human relationships, self-confidence and enthusiasm through behavioral science methodology and psycho-spiritual journey. Like so many others, I too felt as if one had discovered ready-made solution for all the qualities jotted in one's shopping list. Today one realizes that these qualities were just tip of the Miltonian iceberg. Though they help project one's personality, each Miltonian has to sculpt his life sculpture by working on the submerged portion of this iceberg. This molds his character. We are already that, what we can be. Milt helps us to unlearn the wrong inputs we have been fed with and chip away the polluting superimpositions. For this to happen, one needs to be a Miltonian even after the Milt course is over. In the goal-setting session, everyone talked about their professional and financial goals. I said, I want to be a good human being. One realized this wasn't a measurable, time-bound goal. An intuitive voice said, Milt was the right avenue to be good and do good. Rightly, Milt showed the roadmap to be, by charting the path of comprehensive growth. Milt mission and pledge showed the plan to do. The mission was, let this world be little better because I came here. Second Sunday morning class, Aparesh took me on merry-go-round by asking pointedly, "Who are you?" This reminded one of the self-inquiry, "Who am I?" one indulged in childhood. Aparesh's question had awakened in me the intense urge to merge. I no longer wanted to have the gifts from the giver. I wanted to have the giver himself. Be with God and you'll be happy was playing its silent melody in my mind. I was experiencing awareness of a new dimension, the spiritual dimension. During MLC, Aparesh gave us 7 HR cards. Faced with any problem in life, one was sure to find its solution. In one of the card principles, being a Miltonian, I decided to live, L-I-V-E, live these HR principles and not use them for manipulating others. I read them daily, loudly, for more than 2 years after the course. First HR principle had etched in my mind the importance of refraining from the 3 C's by shunning malice towards everyone. 3A Milt Constitution had become a way of life. Whenever one even planned to act against a principle, one became aware and aborted that wrong action. This was the blessing of an internal gyroscope or gyroscope, magically developed due to regular introspection in bed and daily card reading for over 2 years after the course. During the course, we all thought that MILT was an acronym for McGrath Institute of Leadership Training. But during this graduation address, Aparesh gave new perspective. He said, M for maximize in your life. Identify your real self. And I remembered his "Who are you?" question and also the "Down with names and down with forms" slogan. Those who attended the Sunday morning sessions will remember. L for love unconditionally. And T for tune to the divine frequencies of the totality by eradicating all negativities within. One decided to follow these guidelines by being a Miltonian. Gradually, my worrying habit was getting replaced by thinking habit. Being a Miltonian does not mean only giving loud, confident talks, but means walking the talk. One has to cultivate self-honesty by being true to oneself. Only then one can be. I had to shun the masks I was wearing. My 30 hours of marathon HR session in class HR group made me taste awesome freedom. But I was still opaque with my spouse. After HR session with her, a kind of openness and trust developed in our relationship due to this transparency. After our graduation, Aparesh asked me to be MC for our first alumni meet. I practiced the 5-minute talk for over 3 weeks before the alumni. But 2 months later, in Chennai, Aparesh told me a day before graduation that I was the chief guest. My speech came from the heart. If one had conviction that the path followed was right, then a month-long practice wasn't needed to give a powerful speech. Towards the end of my speech, Aparesh looked at his watch, indicating that I had to respect time. Even decades after Milt course, Aparesh has directed us Miltonians using GPL, not the one that you have in your mind. Growth promoting lessons is what I mean. And the direction is illusion to illumination. Doing MILT course is like getting a diploma. But unlike a diploma course, Miltonians are trained, not taught. A Miltonian needs to apply these self-development skills repeatedly in real-life situations. Repetition is the mother of all skills. A good human being has nothing to gain or lose from this world, nor has anything to hide or prove to anyone, not even his honesty. He is simply himself. A Miltonian who gets his diploma today and stops learning tomorrow will tilt away from this course learnings altogether. As Joint Secretary, I was taking my responsibilities rather casually. One morning, I was at Crossroad in Bandra, listening to Swami Chinmayananda's Art of Man-Making talk. Swami asked, "Do you fulfill with same earnestness your social obligations as you do with your personal and family matters?" I heard a silent voice say, "No." This was the moment of truth, birth of a Miltonian. One was indeed at crossroad of life after the MILT course, equating MILT with the likes of Rotary Coterie Group. I started talking to 5 Miltonians daily, writing 200 plus alumni invites every month, because MILT is a way of life. One must live the noble life of sacrifice and service, producing more than what one consumes and giving more than what one takes. To sacrifice, one needs to be unselfish. Being a Miltonian is not reaching one's destination by getting a diploma and giving 1-minute acceptance speech. In real sense, it is the beginning of the journey, being born again. Except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God, said Christ. To see the kingdom of God within, one needs to be good human by being compassionate. One needs to experience unconditional, all-inclusive love. One has to see unity in diversity. He who sees me in all things and sees all things in me, he never becomes separated from me, nor do I become separate from him, says Bhagavad Gita. God is, rest is not, quote unquote, operation. MILT course taught me to live in day-tight compartments. What started with a 3 inches by 5 inches notepad expanded to A4 size paper, which has blueprint of my next day's activities. The work one accomplishes in a day has increased almost exponentially. After MILT course, I stopped giving commissions to all recruitment agents who referred clients for medicals. The referrals stopped as a result. Clinic income dwindled. I worked on patient records and cultivated private practice over the years, giving a decent revenue, though much less than the recruitment business. This created a rift between my family and MILT movement, notwithstanding the excellent rapport I had built with them by breaking my bad habits. One was aware that being Miltonian, one had to succeed at home first. The wealth of wisdom flowing from Aparishi's talks and books, especially Gita to Bhagavad Gita, highlights importance of self-discipline. One has benefited immensely from it. The 5 purchase managers are firmly reined, and action organs are commanded by the rational, watchful intellect, not by the mind. Attitudinal seminars and PEP workshops one attended and helped to organize sharpened one's attitudinal tuning ability, ensuring multi-dimensional growth, besides harnessing planning and organizational capabilities. This skyrocketed one's self-esteem and self-confidence. 1st August 1993, Mumbai Snehalaya opened. The whole process of starting the Snehalaya and being closely associated with it was one of the greatest catalysts to my evolution. Though it created some roadblocks on the family front, as my wife thought I could have given the time and energy to my biological children. In 1994, I was introduced to satsang. The 3 cardinal rules to be abided by a satsangi are no lies, no falsifications, and no succumbing to unethical temptations. They speak volumes about the meticulousness with which a Miltonian's roadmap has been charted in his journey from illusion to illumination. With satsang, Aparesh introduced us to scientific meditation and SSPM, Shave Shower Prayers Meditation, morning discipline. This opened gateway to one's inner world. Attending retreats regularly was a great boon. Retreat got me into the habit of daily prayers and meditation besides jogging. By publishing the retreat diaries one had penned, Aparesh gave wings to one's dreams of becoming a writer. Retreats inspired us with Aparesh's vision of starting high school with a difference for our Snehalaya boys, thus creating great impact on future generations through loving care and involvement. Annual visit to Shimultala became a must. I maintained regular contact with Mild residential school boys through letters, a practice I continued even during my 8 years sannyas when I explored the world outside Milt. It was my self-discipline, courage, determination, and willpower that kept me railed during those trying years. Recently, when Karan Vellar, our ex-MRS boy, suffered accidental head injury, at midnight, I had a call from Uday Karelia and Stani Pinto. Next few hours, we were in constant touch as they were giving me the updates on Karan's health, of course. 3 other Miltonians too had reached the hospital in distant Mumbai suburb that midnight. It was Nala Sopara. It was commitment that made them do this. There was no thought of what is in it for me. That line of thinking could be appropriate for Aam Janta, not for a Miltonian. So many Miltonians have come forward and helped financially and otherwise, ensuring that Karan gets best medical treatment and is fighting fit, which he is today. In conclusion, I would say that getting Milt diploma is like getting passport. But each Miltonian has to strive for visa, voluntary instruments of self-actualization, like the alumni meets, satsang, national conventions, Snehalaya, Milt Residential School, and charitable primary school. One ought to be a Miltonian first, doing selfless activities and taking more responsibilities. This is true freedom. Shunning responsibilities is escape from freedom. Aparesh's directional control in our endeavors is invaluable. Forward thrust plus directional control is equal to continuous growth, said Professor William James. If Miltonians selflessly and unconditionally serve the society with trusty attitude, guided by Milt mission and constitution, they can certainly bring about that transformation from instrumental to self-expressive behavior after milk course, if one frames the certificate and goes about without sharpening skills developed in milk, one will be more confused than he was before doing the milk course. Finally, milk pledge enshrines our mission. Let the world be a little better because I came here. If one has lived life of a Miltonian by being one, then one should be able to bid goodbye to this heavenly world, saying, mission accomplished.
Thank you, Dr. Ashok. You have so beautifully summed up the whole essence of being a Miltonian. We are honored to have read your paper today. Now, friends, it's time for the question hour. Since we are really running a bit late, we just have 15 minutes for the question hour session. So let's make it a little short and crisp. One question and no repetition of questions.
Thank you, Lex.
My question is, I felt a tinge of control, all over your paper, and perhaps it's also influenced by my interactions with you. So how important is external control for you still? Is external control still important for you?
I didn't understand what you mean by control.
Whatever is written in your paper,
Yeah.
you have used in the second last paragraph, or the third last paragraph, you have used the word control and you have also put a formula there. And my question is, right, do you still need control from an external party?
Forward thrust plus directional control, if that's what you mean.
No, plus there's another reference to operation.
That is what I said, na?
No, there's another reference to operation.
Forward thrust plus directional control is equal to continuous growth, Professor Williams. If Miltonians selflessly, one ought to be a Miltonian first. Operations directional control is the same directional control I'm talking about.
So I'm asking,
Yeah.
how important is control for you from the outside, from operation or whoever?
Now see, a plane may be a supersonic plane, or plane may be the latest technology using jet plane, but still navigation is required because the forces of wind are playing havoc on that plane in the sky, and a little deviation in the end it will take the plane in a different direction. So that's where navigation helps. Now operations control, that was required right at the beginning when September 1991 I did the course, and by November 1991 I felt it was, he used to give the simile of a Petromax, Petromax ka pump laga. I felt that the power had gone and it required some more control, and I went off to Chennai. By January 92 again I felt the power, I don't have to do that. That time, remember, I used to call him so often on landline, and I had that the MTNL ka thing for trunk calls. The bill started coming up really steep, and I had to disconnect that. Today I don't require those things, but even in my prayer room I have a photograph of Aparesh, and I get all the inspiration I require. He is my Murshid. Murshid is your mentor.
Sure. No, I was only trying to ask, now do you get your control from within?
Yeah.
Can we move on to the
Thank
next
you.
question, please?
Congrats, Doc. Good
Thank
paper.
you, Shiru.
I just want a small clarification here. You said one was indeed at crossroad of life after milk course, equating milk with life with likes of Rotary Coterie groups. And the same question, there's one more reference you made, sannyas when I explored the world.
Take one thing, because both the things are entirely different. So one thing.
So please give me the first one. What do you mean? What exactly do you mean by Rotary Coterie groups?
In fact, if I had more words, if you see it is 1995 words, if I had liberty of using some more words, I would have used lion, tiger and things like that. Okay, because that's what Aparesh, those were the favorite words of Aparesh those days. Don't think that this milt is like rotary, coterie, lion, tiger and other cat, rat, dog. And that's in that reference I have used. See, just a few years before I did the milt course, I happened to fall in love with sitar vadan. And Vilayat Khan's nephew, Irshad Khan, he became my Gandavandan guru. But he made a perfect, I should not be using that word, but I must say that he used me as a driver. Okay, whenever he used to come from Kolkata to here, Mumbai, he used to ask me to be there at the airport. And I realized within a couple of trips that he wants a driver in Mumbai, and I said bye-bye to him. When after the course, Aparesh was going, he was staying in Rosewood Hotel, and he had called all the, the senior Miltonians, and I being the secretary, he had called me. And, once bitten, twice shy. I said, again, am I becoming a driver? Because he wanted to, he had other cars also. I somehow excused. So, because I was not clear in my mind what kind of group is MILT. That's why I have used that.
No, but what exactly mean by rotary, coterie groups? Can you kindly explain?
I already explained, na? That, where there
are you deprecating rotary in any manner?
Sorry?
Are you deprecating rotary in any manner?
Oh, I didn't get you at all. No.
Come again? No, I don't get it. I'm still going. I'm sorry. I'm unable to comprehend.
Most Rotarians, they do not follow the Rotary's four principles at all.
Yeah.
So it's only in book now.
I tend to disagree on that, Operation, because I've been a Rotarian after I did my MILT. There may be exceptions because Rotary is a huge group. MILT is a very limited group to 4 chapters, 5 chapters, and all that now. Okay, but maybe there are exceptions. There are a lot of people who have taken Rotary to where it is today. And if it is a criticism in Rotary, I disagree with that. That's all.
It's not criticized because the first rule of the HR card which I have got, it says do not criticize, condemn and complain, and you will never do that as long as you have no malice. I have no malice for Rotary or Lion or whatever.
Okay. Can I have one more question?
I'm sorry, please give a chance to the next. And we have time just for this one last question. I'm sorry, friends. We can, because we are running late. This is last question.
Okay, congratulations Ashok for this wonderful paper. In fact, I personally like these papers of yours the most. And I'm sure many of us would have identified with your journey in your paper. Wonderful. And there are 2 things that no one can take away from you. One is your self-discipline, and other is your commitment towards Snehalaya. I mean, that's no argument on that part. My question is, now at this stage, what is the role that you see for yourself in MILT, for Mumbai MILT, or at national level? That's my question.
It depends on how you carry forward the Snehalaya project in Mumbai. Understand? So it will entirely depend on, you ask me for my help as regards the medical doctor's certificate, saying that I am willing to be a medical doctor for the children as and when they come, and promptly I gave it to you. You know that. So this is a hypothetical question as regards this. Right. As regards the school as well as the Snehalaya movement at large, it is very close to my heart, but there are other things. Between God and MILT, there is one more entity, and that is my family. Both my children are married.
Okay.
Bharti is not getting any younger. She has her own issues, and my mother, she is 91. And even if I'm late by half an hour or 1 hour, she really gets perturbed. Okay, why you have not come? Sometimes even after I reach home, she starts asking, why the children have not come? And I know what she means is me. Because, she is in that senile...
Actually, my question was like in MILT, if you have any particular roadmap or any particular specific role that you have it in mind as of now, or you are working on it?
All the roles that I have played, and believe me...
No, so far...
Let me complete. All the roles that I have played, I have never asked for a role, but I have fulfilled all the responsibilities that were entrusted to me.
That's true,
And I still am ready to do that as long as I do not have to compromise on my
Do
commitment
you have
to my
anything
society.
particular in mind? That's what my... Do you have anything
No,
particular?
no.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, friends, we'll just make it quick. I'll extend it by 5 minutes. One last question, or if you make it really quick, maybe just one more after this.
Congrats,
Thank you.
Ashok,
Thank you.
for winning the cup repeatedly. My question is, you also mentioned you were in Sannyas. Why, first of all, you took
Sangras nahi, sannyas.
Sannyas?
Haan.
Yeah, you have taken a long break. My question is, why you have taken a break for such a long period? And more than that, what was the reason for coming back?
Reason was Sham Lata. Please don't hit him. Because there was a peak performance seminar in Mumbai that was on 1st of December 2007. And it was at an airport hotel somewhere, now it is Lalit, I think. And Sham was after me that, Ashok, you have not been in our milt for a long time, why don't you come? And I went over there, and I still remember, went as usual and kept my briefcase in the front row, and there Aparesh was sitting with his ponytail and looking at me, saying, hey doctor! And there I went, I touched his feet and we hugged, and I was back in milt. As regards why I left milt, it was my mistake, and I will tell each and every one of you, please don't commit that mistake.
Thanks for coming back.
Now, this has to be our last question.
Congratulations, Ashok, for written paper wonderfully.
Thank
Only
you,
my
Vivan.
small and simple question. You have written that I read them daily loudly for more than 2 years. Suppose loudly word you have used. So if one does not read loudly, then what happens?
See, we have 5 sense organs. When I am reading, in my mind, the mind can, get diverted. But when I am reading it loudly, and my eyes are looking at it, then again I am standing in front of a mirror. When I am saying it loudly, my ears are hearing, and then my vocal organs are, so organs, more number of sense organs and organs of action are involved. And when you read it loudly, then there is a better chance of the whole thing sipping into your subconscious. And it's the subconscious breaks that you start enjoying, which stop you from doing anything that is contrary to your human relation principle.
Thank you for answering scientifically. Thank you.
Thank you. Others, I'm so sorry. Please utilize the break. What? Okay. Last.
Doctor, as usual, a brilliant paper.
Thank you, Arun.
I know you personally. What I like about you is, as Uday said, your self-discipline and commitment. But one thing I have experienced about you is your surrenderfulness to your mentor, Aparesh, and to the milt principle. And this is a great quality. Let me tell you, this is a great quality. So, how do you develop this and how do you sustain it? That's what the question I would ask you.
I think surrender is not the right word. I would put it love.
Yeah,
because there are times when he had asked me to do something, but where I had to compromise my commitment to the family, and I put my foot down and I said, no, I will not do that. So don't when you say,
not surrender
I won't
from
do that.
the negative angle. Surrenderfulness is a in my opinion,
You
if
don't-
ask- not from the perspective of a negative connotation. If you ask me, surrenderfulness requires a huge amount of inner strength. That's what I see in you. So please don't take it in the negative sense.
No, but if
Yeah,
in fact,
surrenderfulness is
Aparesh
not-
himself has said,
Yeah.
you don't surrender to someone whom you love.
Yeah.
People say surrender to God. You don't surrender. God is your lover. So hug him. Don't surrender.
Yeah. Surrenderness, it's just a different
Yeah,
interpretation. Surrenderfulness leads to sublimation. What I mean to say, you become one with the entire thought process of the entire mission. So that's what I've seen in you, which
you
I've
said
felt.
to Aparesh something about the
And
second
Aparesh
part.
also, of course. I see your great reverence towards your mentor,
Right,
which is, to be frank enough, in this modern world, is not very, very easy or not very, very common.
That is very important question, because I remember having said this to Aparesh. I said, I'm here to grow. And I know that in your company, I have a good chance to grow. So what you are or what your life is, I'm not bothered about it. I'm here to see what all things I can learn from you. And that's what I've been doing.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Friends, I think we need to celebrate once more for this fantastic paper. Let's do it in true mill style. Come on. Thank you, Dr.